So the first guy I wanted to talk about with you, we have talked about catchers a bit, but I wanted to circle back to Ike Irish. So Ike Irish, Auburn catcher, athlete, outfielder extraordinaire, currently ranked 14th by consensus. In a lot of mock drafts that we're seeing coming out now at the end of the cycle, he is going somewhere in the 8 to 12 range, right? So just quickly to recap Irish's numbers, strong and steady improvement throughout 3 years in the SEC. This year, 364, 469, 710. That's good for 1.179 OPS, 152 WRC plus, 19 home runs, 11 stolen bases, walking 13% of the time, striking out 14% of the time. You previously said, Jeremy, or kind of hinted at, because we talked about the specific to the Twins. Take Ike Irish if you believe he's the best hitter available when your pick comes up. How do you feel about his profile specifically as a hitter? If we take the catcher piece out of it, because I think what's been talked through about his profile is super strong arm. The rest of the catching skill set is pretty raw. Sounds like he's open to playing wherever a pro organization wants him to. How do you feel he compares to some of these other college bats that we've gone through? It feels like he's really kind of emerged as one of the more well-rounded profiles. And I guess I'll return to that question. If you're the Twins at 16 and he's on the board, do you think he's potentially one of the best bats they could choose?
The answer to that question, I think, is yes. The college hitter demographic, which the Twins tend to draft from pretty frequently, I think we both agree is not great this year. Ike Irish has certainly helped himself. The part that I don't want the Twins to pigeonhole themselves into is, oh, we need to draft a college catcher, right? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the feeling that I got all along as we talked about this, because Ike Irish at the time was sitting outside of that range where it's like, okay, we're going to reach to take a college catcher, and then we're going to hope that he can hit, or hope that he can receive, one or the other. If you draft him at 16, or if you draft him above 16, I don't know that that's where his home is, right? Because I think he could go that high in the merits of his bat. And so I do think that that's why it's a better fit for the Twins than I did previously. However, he's done enough for himself where, as a bat, he might just be off the board prior to that. Mm-hmm. And if he does fall to the Twins, great, pull the trigger, see if you can keep him behind the dish. The Twins have been good at promoting guys quickly, right? So if his receiving skills are even close to where you want them to be, you can't let the glove hold him up if the bat's good enough, right? Yep. So I do think that he makes sense at 16, and I do think that he could be the best hitter available. And if he can play elsewhere, if there's a need for it, I'm not opposed to that. 6'2", 200, not overly huge, could probably play the corner, would have a bat for that in the outfield. Yep. But I would really like to see him try to catch first if he ends up in the Twins organization.
Yep, agree on that. And let me just throw something out there, RE Twins and catchers, because every draft cycle, I for real, dude, like 10 to 15 questions about like who's a good catcher the Twins could take. I'm going to throw a candidate out there for people to satisfy the catcher thirsty Twins prospect crowd. Easton Carmichael is a guy who I like currently, 92nd on the consensus board out of Oklahoma. This is a range I feel comfortable drafting college catchers. 3rd, 4th round type of bat. 3 seasons at Oklahoma, hit 329, 398, 613 this year, 17 home runs, had a big power breakout. Doesn't walk a ton, 9%, although that is slightly better than last year. Struck out 15.7% of the time. Certainly, like, again, a work in progress on the catching piece. But I think if you look back at the Twins' past few drafts, what you've seen with all of their guys are either an athlete who happens to catch or a hitter who sometimes catches. Rarely have they targeted surefire defensive catchers. So it'll be really interesting to see, if they were to go that direction. I think that would be a little bit of a change in direction.